there. I'm Father John Geaney of the Paulist Fathers, and you're watching Psalm Sense. Just a few days ago, the NBC network did this wonderful piece at the end of the news showing all the wonderful flowers blooming throughout our country. Just mountains of them. And I don't mean literally mountains of them, but loads and loads of flowers from all over the United States. And I thought, wow, this is really wonderful stuff, particularly to be on the news. So I congratulate NBC on that. But what it helped me to do was to stop and reflect a little bit about how wonderful God is. You know, we see these wonderful, beautiful flowers blooming in the desert and in mountains and in backyards. It's just incredible. It seems as though it just goes on and on. And I think when we are aware of that, we can't help, or I can't help anyway, of being aware of how the Psalms might just indeed tell us what this is all about. And so I took a look at Psalm 27. And sure enough, it was very reflective of this beauty. So let's listen just a bit to Psalm 27. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. In you, O God, I have trusted. Let me not be put to shame. Let not my enemies exult over me. Those are words that are calling us to be aware of God and to know who God is in our lives. And then to allow ourselves to be reminded of how gracious and wonderful that God is. I had the privilege of living in Washington, D.C. for many years. And so I was able to enjoy the cherry blossoms that are down at what we call in Washington, D.C., the Basin. It's where the statue of Jefferson is. And it's just a magnificent place. And it's particularly magnificent during the spring when the flowers are just everywhere from the cherry trees. Now, what does that say to us about what God is doing? It says how free and wonderful our God is, who gives us these gifts that remind us constantly of Him and of our need to be at peace with one another. There's too much all around our world of terrible pieces of destruction. It's taking place in the Ukraine and between the Ukraine and Russia. It's taking place in and around the places where Jesus walked in Jerusalem. It is taking place in so many places that we don't even think about. Terrible wars and fighting going on between people in Africa. But we need to stop and ask ourselves, in the midst of all this beauty, why can't we get along better with one another? And the Psalm reflects that to us. Psalm 27 says, O Lord, make me know your ways. Teach me your paths. It's very important for us to recognize that God's path, God's way, is the way of peace, and to do all we can to bring it into all our lives. For Psalm Sense, I'm Father John Geaney. My time is up. I thank you for yours.